just don't know what I'm supposed to be. You know? I tried being
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to hit this. I guess I could take one too. I don't think I could take much.
Just like a kid as she's waiting on his day.
If you told me 3 years ago I'd be in a 2-year-long relationship by the time I was 17, I would have laughed in your face.
Console me, and then I'll leave without a trace. Come on, don't leave me, it can't be.
when I look at you, I can't
This boy doesn't even know the difference between there and you. Said some things that I can't unabsorb. You turned me into an I be close to you. Pull the trigger on the gun. I love you, I'm sorry. You were the best, but you were the worst. To sick.
You know what the best part of my day is? For about 10 seconds from when I...
Do you know you have 30 minutes? Are you kidding me? 30.
It feels so scary getting old.
Who's Jewel?
Jules was my first love. I'd like to remember that. One last try. I'm giving life one last try.
I was literally locking myself in the bathroom and making myself bleed because I thought I deserved, you know.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells. Cells. Do they keep you in a cell? Cells. Cells. When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells. Cells. Interlinked. Interlinked. What's it like to hold the hand of someone you love? Interlinked. Interlinked.
Hey, wouldn't it be funny if this night was the last time we ever talked to each other?
You are all the things that are wrong with you.
Up and down and round and round. Christmas Eve with your mother insists. Don't wanna fight, but your mother insists. There are times when I will. Once I took your medication to know what it's. I wanna feel it. I can hardly feel anything. I hardly feel anything at all.
Murder, 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 do my murder dance. Murder, 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 man.
I need this whole gone.
Yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I made a bloody mess in the kitchen sink. I tried to fix myself, but I didn't think.
You're a hypocrite. You're a conformist. You're a liar. I opened up to you and you judged me. You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
When she opens her mouth, it's amazing to me how much.
I changed jobs and cities. I hated holidays, babies, history, newspapers, museums.
Now I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me.
I didn't ask to be different. I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them. You need to get used to that.
It's all her fault. First out everything. She's the devil.
He doesn't know it, but a year from now our family will be torn apart, and I will move far away and won't see or talk to him for 5 years.
Come up to meet you, tell you I'm sorry. Don't know how lovely you are. I had to find you, tell you I need you, tell you I set you apart.
This close to falling off the deep end. I know I'm smiling right now, but the light inside me is dying.
Put me in a movie.
This close to falling off the deep end. I know I'm smiling right now, but the light inside me is dying.
Put me in a movie.
But I want it to be you. I wanted it to be you.
If you wanna go far, then you gotta.
She likes the boy, she likes the boy, she likes the boy, she likes the boy. And I'm not a boy, I'm not a boy, I'm not a boy, I'm not a. It will take a while to. And I know that I can survive. I walk through fire to save my life.
I think of it a lot. Was it sexual assault? Probably not, but I still remember how your lips felt on mine, and the way I scrubbed them raw blue in the bathroom right afterwards, like it would get it to go away. I think of it a lot, and think of how it was just a joke, a play. It was my birthday, and you thought to kiss the birthday girl goodnight. And I think of the joke, and I laugh because it's a little funny, right? Was it sexual assault? Probably not, but I still think of it a lot.
Why'd you have to become a stranger? You were supposed to be my savior.
Hey, wouldn't it be funny if this night was the last time we ever talked to each other?
You are all the things that are wrong with you.
staring at the ceiling in the dark, same old empty feeling.
Yeah, because that worked out so well for me the last time.
I would say, I wish you could know how sorry I am.
There's really no way of winning if in their eyes you're...
Nunca le digas a nadie, que fui yo quien te dejó. Porque yo nunca te hubiera dejado. Nunca. Porque eres muy fácil de querer.
And I can't get out of bed. I can't. I can't. Walk away. Walk away. That's all you do is walk away because you don't want people to think that you're a bad person. I am what I am. I am what I am, and I'll stand by that. And I'll fucking stand by that. That's some bullshit. You're bullshit. You're fucking bullshit, Anton, and you know it.
You always let your emotions get in the way. That's the problem with you, Lorelai. You don't think.
Mom, please.
He's just a man, Lorelai.
No, he's not.
Oh, so what are you telling me? That this was all worth it because he was the love of your life, that this was the man for you?
I don't know. He might have been.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
So I can't find surrender, and I can't keep control. You turn me inside out, and then you want me.
I hate you for what you did, and I miss you like a little kid.
This close to falling off the deep end. I know I'm smiling right now, but the light inside me is dying.
Put me in a movie.
She was crying on my shoulder. All I could do was hold her.
It's forever. So I can't find surrender, and I can't keep control. You turn me inside out, and then you want.
And I can't. I can't get out of bed. I can't.
Hey, smile.
Smile.
Ruining everything. I swore I would be true. Honey, so did you. So why were you holding her hand? Is that the way we stand? Were you lying all the time? Was it just a game to you? But I'm in so deep. You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you
was good at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this, but can we talk about how insane when a guy is comfortable with you, he acts like a baby? Like, this is the most vulnerable shit they can do. Like, literally. When they, like, snuggle up on your chest, it screams mother. It screams like they're screaming mommy to you. Like, they're on your chest and they're, like, all cuddled up, like babies. Sometimes they push, like, little noises, like, uncomfortable, like, that shit is insane. I'm telling you, if you film them in that state, you can bribe them for anything that you want. Like, blackmail. You can blackmail them. Because that's when they're the most vulnerable. Honestly, I find that shit cute. Because, like, they're on your chest and they're all snuggled up and you're just touching their hair or giving them little, like, how do you call this? Like, in French we say les papouilles. So you, like, caress their arms or whatever. And they're just comfortable. And I find that cute. And that means that, like, they like you. They're, like, very comfortable to a point they can be that vulnerable. Because that shit for a man is being vulnerable. They treat you like their mommy, their mother. They're like, when they lack the love of their mom, they seek it in you. To be honest, I'm still waiting for my Mother's Day gift from my ex-boyfriend, so.
I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me. You should put it all behind me, shouldn't I? But I see her in the back of my mind all the time. Just like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign.
I'll quiet down if it's what you want. I understand I'm not the only one for you. So tell me what you're looking for. Is it a picture perfect girl for you?
I've been holding my breath, I've been counting to 10 over something you said. And I've been holding back tears while you're throwing back beers. I'm alone in bed. You know why I'm afraid of change. Guess that's why we stayed the same. So tell me to leave, I'll pack my bags, get on the road. Find someone that loves you better than I do, darling, I know. 'Cause you remind me every day I'm not enough, but I still stay.
Remember the time when you were on fire for God? When you couldn't stop reading your Bible? When you were just so in love with Jesus? You were singing to God that you just surrender it all? And then now you look at your life and it doesn't reflect that part of you anymore. But God's calling you back into his presence, back into his love, back into spending one-on-one time with him again, where you can feel the love of God all over again. This is the time when he wants you back. And it's like, oh, but I have to give up all these things in my life, and I don't want to give them up. All these habits, this attitude.
Take my mind and take my pain. Like an empty bottle takes the rain. And heal. Take my past and take my sins. Like an empty sail takes the wind. And heal.
And over the past year, a year that was full of a lot of overwhelming events, I found myself saying sorry for so much, and I'm not even sure why. And amongst that, the really sad thing is that I didn't realize how much I say it until I started to say it around the people that truly care about me. I'm sorry, I'd say. Why? You didn't do anything wrong. They're silent because I have no response. No response because there once became a point when I didn't even know what I was apologizing for. All I knew was that someone was bothered, and I blamed it on myself, because I once was in a relationship with someone who convinced me that everything was all my fault.
Sam, stop. You need to stop.
So obviously I just got broken up with. I literally am just alone right now. Didn't see it coming, to be fair. Blindsided right now. I don't understand. I'm doing wrong because that's always the reason that I'm given. And I'm still sitting here wondering what the fuck is wrong with me. I keep experiencing the same exact thing over and over again. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Same thing keeps happening. And I just wonder if me putting all this effort in and stuff is even worth it anymore. I literally did not see this coming. I'm sick of this. It's the same thing every time for me. I just literally never want to date again at this point. That one was it for me. That was the man that I thought I was gonna marry, so.
This is for all the girls who like wearing their hair down but still want it to be out of their face. I'm going to show you the best hair hack.
Okay, so I wanted to do a video about how to get a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder and what the process is like in getting a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. I might separate them into two different videos, but yeah, I'm just going to start. Okay, so when I was 15, 16, I was first diagnosed with depression and anxiety, which I think is a very common experience for people with BPD to be diagnosed or misdiagnosed with another mental illness before you reach the BPD diagnosis. Now, getting a borderline personality diagnosis isn't very streamlined. Like, say with ADHD, for example, there is a specific ADHD assessment, and there are specific people that diagnose and services that diagnose people with ADHD. With borderline personality disorder, it's very different. You get a BPD diagnosis from either a psychiatrist or a psychologist. For the sake of this and my personal advice, I would recommend going to a psychiatrist, because if you are interested in being prescribed medication alongside like therapy, I think, and medication, like the two can work well as a combination, or just therapy. I don't think just medication is the answer for BPD, in my opinion. So the good thing about seeing a psychiatrist is that, one, they can diagnose you, but two, they can prescribe medications. So I would be looking for a psychiatrist, and the way you go about that is through your doctor or your GP. Okay, so what you should be saying to them is something totally different. Okay, so with the BPD diagnosis, okay, it is something that takes time to be diagnosed. I would be very surprised if you were to have 1 to 2 sessions with a psychiatrist and be diagnosed. What I will say is psychiatrists are usually typically expensive. It is something that you have to have the money for, which is so unbelievably frustrating. It's a broken system, but I'm moving past that. Okay, so with BPD, if you are struggling to get a diagnosis, what I think that would help you is, one, looking at the symptoms of what BPD is, okay? Because psychiatrists were looking, well, not me, but they're looking at the DSM-5, they're looking at the criteria of symptoms, and you have to have, I don't even know how many symptoms you have to have to qualify to have BPD, not qualify, but to get the diagnosis of having BPD. So what I would do is I would look at the symptoms and find and talk to them about times when you have experienced the symptoms and provide examples. So, for example, one of them is chronic feelings of emptiness, okay? And so if it is situational based, like you've gone through a breakup or something like that, your psychiatrist might think that it's more likely to be depression because this event has brought on why you're feeling. Like they're looking at like cause and effect for things, right? And so with BPD, the chronic feelings of emptiness are typically not always situational. They might not be brought on by anything. So if you're talking about a symptom that you're experiencing, give them examples of times you have experienced that and what you think led to you experiencing that symptom. And another really crucial piece of advice I have is BPD, I don't think, in my opinion, it is a disorder that you can develop a lot later in life. BPD is something that I feel like you develop it as a child based off your trauma, also as a teenager. And so if you can articulate times and experiences you've had when you have experienced the symptoms as a child and relate it to now, I think that will really help you, because they're looking at history when they're making a diagnosis, right? And so if you're speaking about everything that's situational and happening for you now, okay, that's all well and good, but they want to be able to see, and psychiatrists want to be able to see, that this is an issue and this is something you have been dealing with for a very long time. So sit down, make a diary. You can, journal about how you're feeling throughout the day today, but also pinpointing and thinking back to times in your childhood when you dealt with this and how you responded to situations, because BPD is a disorder that's one around someone's personality and identity, but it's also around emotional regulation. So if you can give examples of things that happened when you were younger and how you responded to that, I think that will really help. Another thing, and this is the last thing, is to be honest with your psychiatrist, your therapist, whoever it is, because if you are not honest about what you are actually experiencing and the things you do, like a lot of people won't talk about, say their sexual activity or say their drug use or their alcohol abuse. That is all related to having BPD. So be honest about what you're dealing with. If it's addiction, if it's, addiction, drug abuse, same thing. If it's a sex addiction, like really go into that and talk about that. And yeah, I suppose the very last thing I would say is be mindful of being fixated on that you have this diagnosis. You can say that, you have done some research and you feel like this is something you have. But if at every session you're just like insisting that this is something that you have, your psychiatrist may see it, but they may also not see it at all. So yeah, that would be some common advice I would give. And also, there is such thing as quiet BPD. It's not an official diagnosis, but if you are someone that you think it is more quiet, I would also be explaining why you think those reasons are. I hope that helps, and sorry, it's a long video.
Oftentimes people ask me, Briley, if God loves me so much, if God is this all-powerful God that you say he is, why does he let people get hurt? Why does he allow suffering? Why does he allow people to get murdered? Why does he allow people to get raped? The honest answer is, I don't know. I will never be able to understand the way that God works, neither will you. Well, I would assume you don't. But the thing is, once you go into deeper thought about it, which is something that we have to do if we want to really know the answer, is God limited his power by giving us free will. God gave us free will because he loves us, not because it's just something he wanted to do. He loves you and I so much that he wanted to give us free will. He wanted to give us the ability to make our own decisions, which means we're gonna mess up, which means there's gonna be evil in this world. We didn't come from monkeys. I hate to break it to y'all, we didn't come from monkeys, we're not robots. We have a soul, we have a personality, we have free will. God gave us free will, and we can choose to abuse that free will. We can choose to say, no God, you're wrong, I know it's gonna make me happy, and I don't really care what you have to say. Like, this is gonna make me happy, so sorry, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Now, when you think about the book of Job, which is in the Old Testament, the book of Job is confusing to me, because, the question of why would God allow all this suffering onto this man named Job. He was a follower of him, and he dedicated his life to him. Why would he allow the devil to do all these things? Why would he allow his whole and all of his workers, all of his slaves to die? I mean, they had families too. This just doesn't add up. Why would God allow his workers to be murdered while they have families as well? But we gotta think, God is fair and life is unfair. That's just how it is. Life is always going to be unfair, but God is always going to be fair. Now, God and the devil in the book of Job made this bet almost, that the devil was going to throw all these obstacles at Job, and God, he was still going to obey and love God, which he did. He says, and I think like Job, I don't know what verse, but it says, Lord, you have given me and you have taken away. Bless the name of the Lord. Something along the lines of that. But you see, life hurts. And for us to blame God for that, for us to blame God for our suffering and for these bad things that happen in our life, that's unfair. It's not fair to us to look up at God and be like, why are you doing this to me? I'm no longer gonna follow you because you've done nothing but had me suffer. Which, that's not God's fault. God created us with free will. He created everyone with free will. Which also goes to say that there is gonna be people in your life who will hurt you and who will cheat on you, who will lie to you, who will betray you. But God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. God will never forsake us, and he will never leave us. So for us to ball up our fist at God and say, why are you doing this to me? This isn't fair. God isn't the one doing it to you. It's just life. I mean, it's just as if we had a tough day at school, tough day at work, tough day, just a tough day. Say your mom calls you, or you see your mom, and she's like, how's your day? And you just completely start going off on her. That's misplaced anger. It's not her fault that you're having a bad day, but instead of thanking her for what she's done for you, thanking her for all the many things that she has provided for you and she has sacrificed for you, instead we're like, Mom, why would you give birth to me? Why would you bring me into this world? That's not fair. I didn't choose to be here. Why am I suffering? And it's all your fault. That's misplaced anger. It's not her fault. Just as us throwing all of that onto God, it is not God's fault. We have to realize that. We have to realize our suffering is not God's fault. Which, don't get me wrong, there are times where I'm like, God, please help me. Like, why am I feeling like this? I don't want to feel like this. God, help me. But I don't fully understand. Like, I don't understand why God lets us be in these certain situations, but he doesn't place us in them. But he also teaches us lessons. Like, I don't have all the answers. But at the same time, we can't be mad at him for something that's not his fault.